I would like to say to whoever has my children that they please bring them home to us where they belong.
On Tuesday, October 25, 1994, Susan Smith told authorities she was driving in her car in the town of Union with her 2 boys at an intersection on Highway 49. She claims a black man with a gun jumped into her car. Several miles down the road, she says, the carjacker ordered her out and got away with her 2 sons, 3-year-old Michael and 14-month Alex. The next day, the search begins for the alleged suspect and the boys. Police put out the description of the man and for her Mazda protege that he could be driving. The search goes nationwide. An exhaustive search by hundreds of people, highway patrol, and helicopters are brought in. Friends and family begin to organize a search efforts. The father, David Smith, pleads for help.
If you see anything suspicious, if you see a vehicle you think is the one that we're looking for, please notify any form of law enforcement agency and let them know.
The police were going to houses late at night or early in the morning, questioning black men who fit the description. The description she gave could fit a lot of people. They also talked to both parents and stated there were differences between Susan's whereabouts before and after the carjacking. The father answered more questions from investigators as well, but so far, their searches and questions have turned up with no answer. The FBI confirmed that Susan took multiple lie detector tests and failed them. 9 days later, after Susan's children went missing, she confessed. The officials in South Carolina report it was the inconsistency in her story as well as the media scrutiny that led to Susan to crack and to confess to unaliving her 2 young sons.
At sunset, investigators plunged into the murky water of John D. Long Lake, where they found the car. The same car Susan Smith said was carjacked was submerged less than a mile from where she reported the alleged crime. In the car, 2 children. Tonight, state investigators confirmed the terrible news. The bodies in the car were identified as 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alex. A sad procession of patrol cars leads a tow truck away from John D. Long Lake. The muddy Mazda protege carried into town.
As Susan Smith came to court this morning, an angry crowd was there to greet her. Many were from Union's African-American community, angry not only at the death of 2 innocent children, but also at the racial aspect of the case. African-American men in Union, the last 10 days have been uncomfortable.
Oh man, I had to walk very soft. You know, it's just like walking on cotton, you know. That was time that I wanted to go fishing, you know. But hey, I couldn't get caught, you know, going fishing. That was time that I wanted to go hunting. I couldn't go hunt. What if a black man would have got caught in the woods hunting with a gun?
Susan Smith's brother speaks out on the behalf of the family.
On behalf of my family, we want to apologize to the black community of Union.
I was very emotionally distraught, she wrote. I felt I couldn't be a good mother anymore. Referring to the night of the murders, Smith said I wanted to end my life so bad in my car. I was ready to go down the ramp into the water. I stopped, she said. I went again, and I stopped. I dropped to the lowest when I allowed my children to go down that ramp into the water without me.
Media invasion is coming, and they're trying to make it as comfortable for everybody, including the townspeople, as possible.
Media swarmed the little town of Union to cover the trial. This is the biggest trial since O.J. Simpson.
Saying he'd been considering the cameras in the courtroom issue for some time, Judge William Howard sided with the defense. He said to ensure Susan Smith has a fair trial.
There is a substantial likelihood of interference with the court process.
Smith's attorney David Bruck told the judge cameras in the courtroom would promote problems he says he's seen in the O.J. Simpson trial, problems with the jury and problems with witnesses. But the attorney for the South Carolina Broadcasters Association said there's nothing fair about banning coverage of the Smith trial or comparing this trial to the Simpson trial. Immediately, the camera cables were unplugged. TV crews packed up and took cameras and equipment out of the courthouse.
Beverly Russell, Susan's stepfather, seemed to be smiling when he entered the courtroom. But before he left the witness stand, he took on a whole new expression. He talked about his sexual relationship with his stepdaughter, Susan Smith. He admitted to molesting her when she was 15 and continuing an affair with her even when she was married and had Michael and Alex. After the police arrest Susan for unaliving her 2 sons, Russell wrote to Susan a letter of apology. The letter says, "I want to tell you how sorry I am for letting you down as a father. Many believe my failure didn't have anything to do with October 25th, but I believe it did, and I want you to know that you can't take the blame for the whole tragedy."
The prosecution says Russell took the stand to give the jury someone to blame other than Smith.
While they say they're not blaming anybody, yet they're pointing and looking for blame. And I heard it said that we are blaming other people, that we're blaming him, we're blaming Harry Vaughn, we're blaming this and blaming that. You know, I'm not doing that. God knows Susan doesn't do that.
The prosecution presents a letter from Tom Finley, Susan's boyfriend. He wrote her a letter a week before her car drove into the lake. "Dear Susan, you will make some man a good wife one day, but unfortunately it won't be me." The letter says we come from 2 different backgrounds. A few paragraphs later he says, "Susan, I could really fall for you, but like I told you, some things are not suited for me. And yes, I'm talking about children. I do not want children, and I do not want the responsibility of your children either." He ends the letter by advising Susan to have a good time and capture some of her youth that you missed out on.
The testimony of this man gave jurors an insight into Susan Smith's life. He's the state agent who conducted interviews with Smith for 4 days before her confession. He told how Susan filed for divorce from ex-husband David Smith on the grounds of adultery. Pete Logan said Susan said David was real upset and called her after he received the divorce papers. She claimed David mentally abused her. Just days before Michael and Alex were drowned, she said David told her he had her phone tapped. Logan told jurors Susan was concerned about people finding out about her affair with Mr. Finley, her boyfriend's father. Susan told Logan David threatened to tell people about the affair. Logan went on October 25th, the day the boys disappeared, she told her boyfriend, Tom Finley, she was having an affair with his father. She said he said that's too weird and he didn't want to have anything to do with her. Defense attorneys used Logan to portray Smith's troubled life, her father's suicide when she was 6, a sexual relationship with her stepfather, a suicide attempt after an affair with a married man in 1989, her pregnancy and then marriage to David Smith in 1991, their separation in 1992, then her love affair with Tom Finley starting in 1993, and what defense attorneys call her failed suicide attempt, the night she rolled her car into John D. Long Lake. On cross-examinations, prosecutors turned the focus to the 9-day search for Smith's sons. During that time, Agent Logan said he asked her, if you had one wish, what would it be? She answered she'd wish she'd never said anything to Tom Finley about having an affair with his father.
The jury found Susan guilty. She was sentenced to life in prison. Susan dropped her head and appeared to be crying.
Again, personally and as far as my family, no. But as far as respect for what the jury returned, yes. The most difficult thing I've had to do, I guess, since I buried Michael and Alex. I didn't enjoy it one bit. It hurt. It brought back some memories that I guess since the burial I have put aside. I hadn't had to think about them, but I had to relive them again, and it was very painful.